Hey everybody, it's Keith with the L1 Automotive Training Channel, and welcome to this week's Tech Questions Quickies video. This looks like a big one. So this one's from Brian S. The email is titled F450 PCM Reflashes, plural. He says, Morning, Brian. I'm very new into reflashing cars and trucks, and is the second vehicle I attempted to flash. First, the backstory on this truck. The truck was referred to me by a client of the first vehicle I did. The truck had several people taking a look in an effort to fix it. When I got it, there was no communication with any module, and the CAN line was down. AC harness had melting, causing problems. My instructions were to program the PCM because the previous tech concluded the PCM was a problem. After my inspection of the truck, I found a few faults. After getting the scan tool to talk, I cannot get into the PCM or transmission for codes. Okay. 2, the vehicle will not crank from the key, but if power is applied to the S cable from the switch, its starter will roll. Okay. When flashing the PCM using FDJS, the program goes to the end and completes, but in my thinking it failed because I cannot read the VIN from the PCM. Okay. After doing an ohm reading on 6 and 14, I get 120 ohms. I unplugged the FICM and the same reading stayed, but the PCM is unplugged, the reading goes to 0. Realizing this, I checked the FICM relay to find it's not being grounded by the PCM and activates FICM relay. If the relay is manually closed, the FICM will get power and grounds and operate. Still reads 120 ohms, jump to pins 32 and 33 on the FICM. Harness, no change. Sorry for the dissertation, but wanted to be thorough. My question is, without programming, should I expect the PCM to send communication out to the FICM on a high-speed CAN? Should I expect crank signal without PCM functioning? And the park neutral switches in the transmission. I've been a member of the site for 2-3 months. Enjoy it greatly. Awesome, Brian. I'm glad you've been a member. So a couple things here. Your resistance on your network being 120 ohms, there's a problem. So there should be two 120 ohm resistors in series on the network, which means that your resistance at pins 6 and 14, key off, key out, should be approximately 60 ohms, plus or minus 5. So you are missing the ability to see one of the 120 ohm resistors somewhere on the network. So you need to start with getting a diagram and working your way through that to determine where you're missing that. That can be that could be the reason why your programming attempt doesn't work, why you have no comm to the PCM or transmission. That's going to be the problem why it's not cranking. That needs to be addressed first. You need to fix your network integrity. Wiring wise, you have an integrity issue, whether it be a wire or a module itself preventing the ability of you to see that other 120 ohm resistor, but that is your problem. So start there, get that fixed, and then you'll be on your way. All right, Brian, thank you. So this is from Keith's Automotive. I know Keith pretty well. He says, hey, Keith, talking to me. A 2006 Pathfinder 4.0 customer installed an eBay TCM, I know, and I'm trying to program it. I'm getting an error message matching entry not found in ONC file. Can you explain what that means? I've triple checked the files and location. A couple issues, Keith. So I find this problem in two different ways. If the ONC file not found error happens either before you select the original file type, because when you go through NERS, it asks you what the original file type is first, and you're supposed to click the original configuration that's currently in the module. Like it's probably a blank one or something. If that ONC error happens before you click that, then it's probably a problem with NERS. You need to uninstall and reinstall or update to the latest version. But if that happens after you select the original or when you select the replacement calibration file name, then it is because the files are in the wrong location. If it is a brand new TCM, unfortunately from eBay, you don't know if it's blank. There are 4 files. You have to have the encoding configuration files and the actual data calibration files. There's 2 of each of those in 2 different locations for NERS. Very, very interesting. A lot of reading of that PDF that comes with the file download first. That is probably your issue. It depends where your ONC error comes from, but if it's before you select files, uninstall, reinstall NERS, maybe try a different version of NERS. That's been a problem lately, so you may have to purchase a new subscription and update. or convert to consult R to R version, which works with the Cardac 3 or with the Mongoose cable, and that's about the only two that it'll work with, J2534 wise. But I know you've triple checked the file location, but even I myself have messed up a few times. So please, please, please read the PDF, quadruple check that if if the ONC file is happening error after you select the calibration type. All right, Keith, thanks for your question. So Clay S says, just watched your very helpful video. I'm having problems reprogramming a new blank TCM and the instructions from Nissan, another Nissan. It says nothing about moving the files to the 107 folder in the config folder. I'm getting an error message after I choose the program in NERS. Could this be the problem? Very much like the last one I just talked about for Keith. Yes, that's probably the issue. And this is 06 Xterra is what he wrote on here. So most likely, since it's blank, there's 4 files total that have to be downloaded, 2 configuration, 2 data files, and those have to go in the correct folders. So please, please, please read the PDF that came when you download them, and then re-review. If you're subscribed to L1training.com, I cover this for about an hour and 20 minutes. I cover Nissan and all the faults that you could possibly run into. So that's where I would go first. That wraps up this week's Tech Questions Quickies. Remember, if you've got questions, please send your questions to TechQuestions at L1training.com. And if I get your questions, I'll make a video and hopefully answer them for you. All right. Thanks, guys. See you next week.